Hey everybody, DaddioTV here. I'm excited to announce that the Tetris 99 stat tracking system that I've been using on my Twitch stream for the past few weeks is now available for public use. I wanted to put together this quick tutorial to show you guys how to implement this on your stream if you're also interested in tracking real-time stats for the players who are playing with you. Let's go ahead and switch on over to desktop sharing mode and we'll show you how it's done. Okay, what we're seeing here is the Excel file. Yes, this system is 100% Excel based. Nothing super fancy here, but it does the trick. So for data entry after each game, it's pretty simple. All we have to do is enter a game ID. So that game ID would typically be one greater than the last game you played. So we'll say in this example, 168. Host streamer is going to be your name. So for me, it's DaddioTV. The date would obviously be the date the game was played. The mode could either be Tetris 99 or Invictus, or honestly anything else you wanted it to be. Maybe you want to do team games or something like that. You can put whatever you'd like there. Place would be the place that the player finished, and then the player, it would be the player's name. So let's say that I was playing here and I got 5th place, and I was also playing with a couple of streamers, a couple of snipers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight those columns, not the place, but those columns there. I'm going to press Control D to fill those values down. So now I have 3 rows for this one game. And then I'm going to enter the other players that played here. So let's just go ahead and enter some fake players. So we'll say that someone else got 1st place and they were, random sniper. And then someone else maybe got 15th place and they were random sniper 2. And then let's just say we go ahead and play another game. And maybe on this one, it's also today and it's Tetris 99. And let's say I got 1st. And then we'll go ahead and fill this all down again, just like we did last time by highlighting those, pressing Control D. And then let's say random sniper got 5th place. Okay, and that's it. That's really all there is to it. For as far as the data entry goes, these buttons up here we'll talk about just a little bit later. But before we do that, let's look at these values up here. So include in rotation, this says false, because what this means is a little bit later, once we're ready to actually implement this on our stream, we're going to hit the start rotation button. And what that's going to do is actually loop through all of these different tabs. It's going to rotate through them for us. That way, what's being shown on screen isn't always the exact same dashboard. We can change it every 30 seconds or every minute or 5 seconds, whatever makes sense for you. So we don't want our data entry tab to show up on that. So we're going to say include in rotation equals false. Any dashboard, any tab that we want to appear would need to have include in rotation equals true. So I've set all that for you. You don't have to worry about it, but just know that if there's certain dashboards that maybe you don't want to show in your stream, you can just set to include in rotation to false and they won't show up. Minimum game count all time. This is the minimum number of games that the player has to play in order to be considered as eligible for stats such as win rate and consistency. Simply because you don't want someone to come in, win one game, play one game, win that game, have a 100% win rate, and then maybe never play again. And they would always be at the top of your leaderboard at having a 100% win rate. This will allow you to set the minimum number of games to be considered for stats like that. And then you have the same thing for games that were played just today. So there's dashboards for all time, and then there's dashboards for just today. So maybe you want to lower that to not say it's not 5 games you have to play for just today. Maybe it's just 3. These are customizable. You can set these to 10. You can set them to whatever you want. You can set them to 0, whatever makes sense for you. Now let's go ahead and jump over to the next tab. This is optional. You don't have to fill anything out here if you don't want to. But what this tab is intended to do is allow you to highlight certain players on your stream. Maybe you want to highlight yourself as the host, or you want to highlight your subscribers, or people who gave you bits, or people who rated you, or different things like that. You can also use this to track differences between in-game player names and Twitch names. Again, totally optional. You don't have to do anything here. And then these different tabs are the actual dashboards that are going to be shown in your stream. These are just pivot tables in Excel. If you're familiar with Excel and pivot tables and you want to come in here and make changes to these, by all means, do it. I would love to see what you guys can come up with. I've just gone through and put together a number of different dashboards that I think are pretty interesting and that I show on my stream. So things like most wins all time, most wins today, most consistent, and so forth. Also, feel free to change the color on some of these if you'd like. I thought I noticed one of these was blue and it shouldn't have been. So if you see something like this and maybe it's not the right color, I'm sorry. Feel free, change them. You can change, they don't have to be green. They can be whatever color you like. I'm going to go ahead and fix this one right now and set this to, I'm going to set all of them to have no fill, and the outline is going to be green, and the outline is going to be a heavy outline, like something like that. So there we go. Now my colors are set for these. And then the differences between default and highlight. Default is going to be the ones that are just green with the with no highlight, and then the highlight ones are these that are indicated with the green fill. Again, you can change those to whatever you like. Or you can not mess with them at all, and all you have to do is come into this very first game log tab and enter your games. So now the magic. What's really cool is this button right here. So once you click Start Rotation, that's going to automatically jump to the next tab in the list that has Include in Rotation equals True. And it's going to start to count down. So you can see right here, we're countdown to transition. We've got 5 seconds remaining. Once that hits 0, it's going to jump to the very next tab that has Include in Rotation equals True. So let me go ahead and go up here. You can see we've gone over to our top snipers today. That has Include in Rotation equals True, so it was included. Our default second to show are 30, and it's counting down to the next one. Whenever we're ready to enter the data for our game results, we're going to want to stop this rotation. Otherwise, you could be in the middle of doing data entry and that hits that timer and it jumps you to the next page. You don't want that. So you're going to go ahead and want to click End Rotation, and that's going to press pause and allow you to do whatever it is you need to do, like enter your game results or whatever. And then once you go ahead and click Start Rotation again, it will just pick up right where it left off. So you don't have to go back to the same tab you were on, but if you do, like right here, we had 18 seconds remaining, and you press Start, it'll just keep going right where it was. So that's it. That's the Excel-based part. That's all that's going to be required for you to log the results. So just to kind of recap, what this looks like for you in real time as you're playing games is what you're going to want to do is click End Rotation to press pause to stop the automatic rotation of the tabs. Enter the game results down here, and then click Start Rotation to start it back up. Anything that's gray off here to the side, ignore those. Those are formula fields. You don't want to mess with those. So yeah, you don't want to accidentally break anything. And then the player information is what you would use to indicate players that you want to highlight in your stream. So now that we've got the Excel part down, now let's switch over to OBS and actually get these added in to your stream overlay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up OBS here. And I've got let me go ahead and close this and just get rid of all this stuff. Oops, okay. Okay, so we have a really, really simple scene here, and all it has is just Tetris. It just has our Elgato capture device. And what we want to do is we want to add a new layer for those new stats that we added. So right here on Sources, we're going to click New by clicking the plus button. And I was unable to get window capture to work. Window capture would be great if you can get it to work. How that would work would be you would select Excel, your Excel file, and ideally it would not be white like this. It would actually show you the Excel file. If you do that and it works, that's the way you want to go, because what that's going to do is only capture that one window, and it doesn't matter where it is on the screen. If anyone out there figures out how to not get this to be white for Excel, please let me know. I've tried everything that I can think of. I've tried decelerating hardware and all the different things I could find on Google. If you run into the same issue, that's okay. There's a different option for you. So what we'll do instead is let's go ahead and delete that. Oops, I just deleted Tetris. I wanted to delete this. Let's go ahead and add Tetris back by hitting the plus button. And it's going to be a video capture device. And that is going to be our Elgato capture card. Okay, so now let's go back and add in, instead of doing window capture, which didn't work for us, we're going to do display capture. What display capture does is it captures your entire desktop. So I'm working off of a big 43-inch TV that's 4K, so my resolution is pretty high. If yours is smaller than that, it's fine. You're just going to edit this. You won't edit anything here. You're just going to, your dimensions will be a little bit different than mine. So we'll go ahead and click OK to add the entire desktop here. And this came in pretty small because it's too big for the scene. So we'll just resize this briefly. Actually, we don't have to resize it because what we're going to end up doing is cropping this down to just the area that we want. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my Excel file and move it to wherever it's going to be on your stream. So for my stream, I'm going to have it up in the top right-hand corner. For your stream, if you're doing it this way, just have it wherever it's going to actually be, because we're going to crop this down to fit exactly our dashboard. So go ahead and select a dashboard, or select a tab that has dashboards on it. And now we've got that here shown, but obviously we're showing way too much. We're showing our entire desktop on here. We don't want to show our entire desktop. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on that display capture and add a filter. And by clicking the plus button here, we want to crop this. So we're going to click crop, just say okay. And then now we get to tell it how much are we going to crop. So from the left, it's going to bring it in this direction. We don't need to crop a whole lot on that, maybe like 500. I don't know, you have to just kind of play with it and you can see how it's going in. From the top, we need to bring that down. Maybe that's 200, maybe 400. That's too much. You get the idea, hopefully, of how you're kind of play with this and get it exactly like you like. 325 maybe. All right, maybe 315. You can see here how it's filtering down, so now we have that part. And then from the right, we have to filter a lot off because we're coming in way over from this side. So I'm going to do probably 2,000, 2,500 maybe. Okay, even more, maybe 3,000. That's a bit too much. Okay, that looks good. For now we have it cropped this direction. And then finally from the bottom, let's try a 1,000. Getting pretty close. Okay. Okay, so there we go. There's our little dashboard that we have in Excel. We'll go ahead and click close. And then we can size this up so that it looks good on our stream. So, you'll want to play with it a bit so you're not covering your gameplay. We won't get into that level of detail quite yet because, it's good enough for demonstration purposes. But now this is white and we want to get rid of the white background. So in order to do that, we're going to right click on display capture again and we're going to go back to filters. And now we've already added our crop there, but we want to add another filter now to a color key to remove the white. So by default, the color key is green. That's if you have a green screen. But we can change this and do a custom color and change this from green to white. And now it's removed all the white from the background. Feel free to kind of play around with these settings here to get it to work. I'm sorry, not that one. These settings here to get this to look nice and smooth for you. You can see as you slide these around, you may not be able to tell on video, but it is affecting the smoothness of the fonts here. So you'll just want to kind of play with this a little bit to get it to work exactly for you. And we'll go ahead and click close. So now we've got this overlay without the white background, but it's a bit hard to see, especially because I'm on a green background here for the Tetris screen. So one last thing is I'm going to go ahead and add another color source. This color source, I'm going to make just a nice black background that's going to add some transparency to it. So just a black screen here, a black backdrop. The width, you'll just want to sort of play with this to get it to fit your exact area. Something like that should work. Good enough for now. Maybe 550 would be better. All right. Make sure it's behind your stats. So on your sources, you're going to want to put that below the display capture, right down here in the bottom. So now that the black is beneath that. Oops. We want to move this one. And then we want this to be a little bit transparent. So this black, we don't want it to just be pure black so it totally covers the screen. So on this color source, we're going to right click on the color source, click filter. We're going to add a filter for this. The only way I could figure out how to add a transparency was to just do a color key again and just say okay. The actual color on this one doesn't matter. All we're going to do is just take down the opacity here. And if you kind of move this over, you can see it here and see how that's affecting the screen. So I'll just go with something kind of like that and click close. Now we're done. So over here in Excel, I'm going to go ahead. This is going to look a little bit funny because I'm bringing it down, but just to show you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click start rotation. But first, I'm going to set this to just 5 seconds so you can see we don't have to wait around for it. I'm going to set these next 2 to 5 seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and click start rotation and then move this up and you can see it in stream. So you can see the countdown going. Oh shoot, that went to the wrong place. 1 second. This is the problem with window capture versus display capture versus a window capture, is that it doesn't track where it is on your screen. You have to actually get it in the exact right spot. So now that's switched over to the next tab. The countdown is going. Once it's going to hit 5 seconds, it's automatically going to jump to the next tab. So there we go. We've got live real-time stats that are cycling through every so many seconds. And really all we have to do is whenever we're ready to, our game has ended and we're ready to add more stats, what we're going to want to do is click the end rotation button, go over to our game log and add the stats to the bottom. Now you may notice whenever I did that in my stream, I now have some stuff going on here. This is my data entry tab that's happening. So what I have done to account for that is I've just added a new scene. What I did is I duplicated this scene and I made it the exact same minus my capture, and I just put a little message on here that says something like please hold while stats are updated or something like that. So basically what happens on my stream is I switch over to that different scene briefly while I enter the stats, and then I switch back to that scene once I'm done and I've hit start rotations. That part is a little bit tricky, but you know, it's not so bad. But hopefully this stuff is pretty easy to implement for you, and this tutorial has been helpful. I would love to see some of these stats to show up on other streams. So once again, very excited to release this to the public. There is a blog post on DaddioTV that outlines this in with the step-by-step instructions, and I'll post a link to that in the video descriptions, and I'll also post a link to this video on that blog post. So everything that you need to download, all you need to download is one thing, and that's the Excel file. This Excel file is macro based. So whenever you open it, you may get a warning message about do you want to enable macros for this workbook or something like that. All that is doing is enabling the buttons to start and end rotation. If you click start rotation and nothing ever cycles, it doesn't actually do anything, then chances are you have your macros disabled. So you want to make sure you enable your macros. You may need to edit your Excel security settings to do so. This is not necessarily an Excel tutorial, but if you need any help with that, please let me know in the comments. Reach out. I can help you out. But that's it. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'm excited to see what you guys do with this. Thanks so much.